Right then, welcome back to the channel. It's time today to talk about Jadon Sancho, someone that's divided a lot of Manchester United fan opinion of late, and I got a couple of reasons why I think that might be happening, and we'll cover those as well as everything else about Jadon Sancho coming up now. This is 5 things that we learn about Jadon Sancho. So Jadon Sancho finished his second season at United, and I reckon it's probably a universal underwhelming. He scored some pretty big goals and showed some quality and ability, but his numbers have probably been quite subpar, really. I think it would be fair to say. The headline is 7 goals and 3 assists in 41 games, but if you look into how many of those games he actually started, it's just over half of those games. And in 21-22, he managed only 5 goals and 3 assists, and it's hardly been the most settled time for any player to come in and join Manchester United. He's had 3 managers in 2 seasons. He's had the whole Glazer malarkey, which, according to David Ornstein, is impacting everybody at the club in different ways. But I think it's safe to say that we expected a hell of a lot more from Jadon Sancho after watching what he did in Germany. And it's very interesting that on one hand, people will go, oh, Sancho got incredible numbers because he was just playing with Haaland, and, you know, Haaland is going to inflate anyone's numbers. Okay, well, that being said, let's have a look at Jack Grealish's numbers for this season then. So FB Ref breaks things down per 90 over the last 365 days. So I think it's safe to say you can get a really good comparison of both Jack Grealish and Jadon Sancho. And in terms of non-penalty expected goals and expected assists, Jack Grealish is at 0.47 with 60 in the 64th percentile, and you've got Jadon Sancho at 0.48 in the 69th percentile. In terms of shot creating actions, you're looking at Grealish being in the 82nd percentile and Jadon Sancho being in the 80th percentile. Now, if Erling Haaland makes such a massive impact on your numbers, shouldn't Jadon Sancho and Jack Grealish be absolutely miles apart in this? In terms of expected assists, you're looking at 0.3 expected assists for Jack Grealish, which puts him in the 87th percentile, which is really good. And you're talking about 0.26 for Jadon Sancho, which puts him in the 79th percentile. So literally a little bit more out of Sancho in, you know, a team that's in the middle of being built, not a team that's just gone and won the precedented treble. You're talking minuscule differences. Now, if you break down the rest of the stats, the pass completion is almost identical. They're both in the 95th percentile. The number of passes attempted, as you would expect, is a little bit higher on Jack Grealish. In terms of the touches in the opposition penalty area, Sancho's ahead. He's having more touches in there. Progressive carries, they're both quite high up in there. Jack Grealish is higher. Everything else is quite similar. And actually, you're getting a bit more blocking out of Jadon Sancho. The work rate for the pair of them in terms of tackles and interceptions is quite low down. But there's not much difference in them. And I'm not seeing anyone talking about Jack Grealish's stuff. And is that because the team has carried him? Because his numbers are so similar to Jadon Sancho's numbers. And yes, the fact that he's won something insulates him from that sort of criticism. But why does it not insulate Jadon Sancho when his numbers are the same as someone who isn't being criticised? I find it very hard to believe. But anyway, let's drill down into everything. There's supposedly been some interest from Spurs. Ten Hag apparently wants to keep him. I think he was showing glimmers of hope. And you got to remember, this is a season where he's had whatever mental issue that he had to go away for weeks. In the middle of all the rest of the drama that was going on at his football club, and he still put up relatively decent numbers. Now, that being said, let's get into it. So it has been an underwhelming start. Sancho's life at United has been underwhelming. In 2 whole seasons, 12 goals and 8 assists is not enough for someone that we know can do a goal or assist every single game. This season, he's openly admitted with the mental struggles, which surely have affected him. And he has gone missing in games. He's never really grabbed a game by the scruff of the neck and made you just go, wow, look at that. And I saw that from him. I saw that at Manchester City, and I saw that for him when he was at Dortmund. And I know he's capable of doing that. Of course, his first season was quiet. There was problems, and obviously managerial changes. Second season, we expected a bit of an uplift. We didn't really get that. Ten Hag we know has helped Marcus, who was struggling mentally last season. He's helped him this season, and we was hoping that he could do the same with Jadon. It's not quite worked out the same, but maybe you've just got to be a little bit more patient with him. Number 2, English football is not the Bundesliga. We did a video a while back looking into which league is most similar to the Premier League in terms of players performing well once they arrive here. And it was actually players from La Liga that performed the best after joining a Premier League club. And it was players that joined from Bundesliga who did the worst. So when you're looking at the exchange rate, and yeah, this is pre-Haaland, admittedly. But maybe he's just a freak on a number of levels. Sancho's a great example of the players that have struggled to adapt to the Premier League. The Bundesliga has, almost in a way where Spain became a copycat league of everybody trying to do what the Spanish national team was doing and do what Barcelona was doing, except the 2 Madrid teams. Everybody else tried to play their own sort of flavour of tiki-taka. Lately, you've seen a couple of teams start trying to play more like Atletico Madrid, seeing the success that Atletico Madrid had. And Real Madrid have always sort of just done their own thing and been happy sometimes to just play on the back foot and try and counter-attack. The same happened in Germany. With the success of Klopp's Dortmund, everybody wanted to, and obviously Ralf Rangnick's had a hand in this at various different places. What Leipzig did well, what Hoffenheim did well, what Frankfurt and some other teams have done really well, is this sort of high-energy, gegenpressing football where everybody plays a high line. You won't find low blocks in Germany. They don't really exist. You see Bayern Munich racking up big scores against teams because everyone goes for them. And it makes it a very exciting league, and it makes it an interesting league to watch, but it makes it completely different. And it also means there's a reason that you're getting so many goals and so many assists in the Bundesliga. And the pace of the game is similar to the Premier League, but the physicality and the tactical element is not the same as the Premier League. The Premier League is quite unique in the sort of way that it is with each team. Bundesliga is very open, almost like a basketball game compared to the sort of slower, ponderous way that you see things in La Liga. It's chaos. But because it's chaos and there's so much room, you think about some of the goals Haaland scored and Sancho was a part of, it's running into a half where there's no opposition players. You don't get that at United. You don't get that really in the Premier League. And he's not the first player to come from the Bundesliga and struggle to adapt. As we said, it is the league that supplies the most sort of struggled players. We've had our own in Kagawa and Mkhitaryan, both from Dortmund. Obviously not Haaland. And he's not the only player that has come from Germany and struggled as well. You had Timo Werner and Kai Havertz also not really hit the ground running at the same level that they've done it. But that's not to say players can't adapt. Now, obviously, Kevin De Bruyne came here and was sensational. Gundogan came here and was sensational. Haaland has come and is sensational. And I don't think it's to do with where the players come or where the players go. I just think it's down to the individual player and seeing what they can do. I still think there's a player in Jadon. And I think if he was in the Manchester City side at the moment, he'd be doing far better than Jack Grealish would be doing in this City team. But Pep didn't want him for whatever reason. Right then, our sponsor Surfshark has partnered with us to bring you this video. And Surfshark is a virtual private network that safeguards your online identity by encrypting all the information exchanged between your device and the internet. That means your personal data is protected from cyber criminals and large companies. Additionally, Surfshark can change your IP address, giving you the ability to appear if you was in a different location around the world. Here's some of the ways that Surfshark can benefit you. Encryption of your online data and protection of your personal information when you use free public Wi-Fi, which is often a prime target for hackers. Masking of your IP address to keep your city, country, and download history private. Surfshark doesn't track, monitor, or store your online activities. And changing of your virtual location to access content that might not be available in your region, such as BBC, iPlayer, and things like that. You can protect your online activities when streaming movies, playing games, and visiting potentially dangerous websites with Surfshark's Clean Web feature. It blocks ads, malware, and phishing attempts to ensure safe streaming, and the ability to use one account on unlimited phones and laptops. I genuinely use this. This isn't just a read. I literally use this all the time, and especially when I'm traveling, and especially when I'm on hotel Wi-Fi. Get it downloaded, get in the mixer, And if you're interested in trying it out, use the code Howson to receive an exclusive offer of 3 months extra for free. You can download the link in the description below and take advantage of this offer. Additionally, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's literally no risk in giving it a try. Listen to me, 30-day money-back guarantee. Try it. If you don't like it, you can get your money back, but I don't think you will because it works. Simple as that. Number 3, the quality is still there. And despite the poor season, there has been flashes and moments in a game where you go, oof, beautiful from Sancho. The problem is it's just never happened where you've walked away and gone, wow, what a game he had. You know, the goal against Liverpool at Old Trafford was class. The goal against Spurs away was class. He's also mentioned by players at the club when they say who's one of the hardest to come up against in training. On a technical level, there's not many that have got anything like Jadon Sancho. And like we said, we know his quality. He got 20 goals and 20 assists as a child in Dortmund back in 2020. We know. Like, you don't do that by accident. We know the level that this guy can get to. Number 4, Ten Hag sees something as well. You know, he hasn't completely given up on him. Sending him to Holland to try and get his head sorted out, I thought was potentially a masterstroke in man management. And I think he's been better since he's come back, but we all expected this sort of like Rocky montage where he's like starts here, does his montage, and then wins the world title beating Ivan Drago at the end. And because we've not had that, we've kind of just had like a improvement. It feels a little bit underwhelming. And it hasn't been helped by the fact that Anthony's also underwhelmed on the right-hand side, and you've had this over-reliance on Marcus Rashford. I think if the rest of the team was firing, you're seeing a better Jadon Sancho. And despite the lack of quality, he has continued to play, partially because of injuries. Garnacho might have made a difference in that if he'd have been fit. But Ten Hag said after we beat Chelsea, he's made individual progress this season. I think he would be a player that could go due to financial fair play because he probably raised a lot of money still. But I think he probably stays. And I think Ten Hag reckons he can improve him. And I think he links up quite well with Marcus as well. I think he needs to improve whatever it is with his mental health off the pitch. And I think things will just magically start looking right again for him on the pitch. And that sort of leads me to the last point. And that last point is patience, really. If Ten Hag keeps him around, I think it's because he sees a way for him to get the numbers that we saw him get at Dortmund. And if the Glazers go, I think there'll be an energy and a vibe around the club anyway, regardless of who it is, whether it's Jim Radcliffe, Sheikh Jassim, or another. I think there'll be a new vibe at the club because it will feel like there's a club that's trying to go and do something. And I think you'll start to see more than just him come out of his shell. He's an undoubted talent, and he's been an undoubted, underwhelming signing so far, especially for the money involved. But I do believe he's got something in him, and I do believe he is capable of helping Manchester United hit the very heights. None of us will ever understand the pressure that comes with playing for Manchester United. I think because none of us will ever understand the pressure that comes for playing for Manchester United, we'll never really be able to sort of understand some of the depression and the side effects of playing for Manchester United. But I think he can get through it. And if he doesn't, then he doesn't. But I think he can get through it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.